Hello. Welcome to another episode of This Is Our Year. I'm your co-host, Michael Kurland. Joining me, as always, Dougie Fresh. Dougie, how are we doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, Mike. How are you?
I'm okay. Like I said earlier, I went to the eye doctor for some last-minute issue with my right eye. I was having some issues, and good news is there's nothing wrong. Bad news is I am totally dilated right now, and looking at a screen is like, not that I have ever been on acid before in my life, but it feels a little trippy to me. So
no, you would never do something like
never.
No, Jesus.
What are we drinking today, Douglas?
Hey, we are drinking. We're keeping it in Connecticut again, but you know what we're doing today? We're gonna take it easy on the IPAs and the high ABVs.
Okay.
You might remember I had like a 13.5 last week, and then something else. And speaking of eyes dilated, that might have been me after the pod.
I mean, you did text me about an hour after we recorded, and it was slight gibberish.
Yeah, it was. We were watching maybe hockey.
Yeah, exactly.
Beats me. So anyway, we're going to go back to an old classic here in Connecticut, a good old lager. And that's, of course, by Narragansett. I don't know if you remember these guys, Mike, but this is kind of like the beer I buy when I don't want to drink Bud Light or like PBR.
Yes.
I'll go Bud Heavy, or I'll go with these guys, and they're local. I'm not going to say it's the best beer in the world, but it's nice and crisp. Not going to need a glass for this guy. We're going to drink it straight out of the tall boy. So
I like it.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. Now, I do remember you back in the day. That was your go-to beer, the Narragansett, and it was, I believe, it was budget friendly as well, if I recall.
Well, yeah, for sure. It's it's the lowest thing on the gas station, like rack in that fridge. But I think I've had a lot of go-to beers over the years.
But I think
my beat.
Which one?
Remember my Beast phase? Oh, that was a rough one.
Which one? The Milwaukee's Best?
Yeah, the Beast Ice up in the Q's, man. It's like $6.99 a case.
Oh, dude.
Can't beat it.
we had Natty Light in Lynchburg, Virginia. We had the choice of Natty Light or the Beast, and right. I just couldn't drink the Beast. It was not my favorite. And then they came out with Natty Ice, and they also had I believe it was Keystone Ice.
Oh man,
maybe.
For a couple years there was everything ice,
ice, and that stuff just, I mean. It was not fun on my gastrointestinal tract.
A lot of Molson ice back then too, which was
you were at least close to Canada. We were in Lynchburg, Virginia. There was not a good brewery. Dogfish had just come out, so that was kind of like making its way, and that was also when Yuengling was still very regional, and so that would work its way into Virginia. So those were the two things that we would hang our hat on if we were splurging. But,
yeah, I know. Like speaking of lagers, I had never heard of Yuengling until I actually went to Philadelphia.
Yeah,
at some point in like the late '90s. So
Lynchburg,
right?
Lynchburg had about 400 kids from Philadelphia because it was only about a 4-hour drive. So it was kind of.
To be fair, the Q's did too.
Yeah. So
to be fair,
so we would have all the kids would just pack up their car with Yuengling, and that would be stocked in the fridge right around every time they would go home for some sort of break. So
it beats the Beast, and the Q's was a weird outlier. Like it seemed like every school was Natty.
Yeah,
and
Natty's Anheuser-Busch. I mean, it was Bud Light. So
for some reason we needed that extra. Well, I guess if you've ever spent a winter in Central New York, you understand. You need that extra kick. But anyway, what are you drinking?
I'm going to preface what I'm drinking with why I'm drinking it. And not that I don't like what I'm about to show you, but I'm wearing my DeGrom Scherzer 22 shirt, which we'll get into a little bit later. And it's opening day eve. And I want to go into Mets opening day with some rose-colored glasses for this year. So I'm going to have a rosé by Dow. Dow is a very good middle-of-the-road brand out of Paso Robles, which is Central Coast of California. It's been up and coming over the last decade. It's been up on the map for a while, but over the last decade, it's really kind of been on the map outside of California. And Dow is one of the big wineries from Paso Robles. They make a great cab, They actually make a rosé, and they also make a Chardonnay. So they got a little bit of everything, So they mass produce, but it's good. It's good. Kind of. I think we're on the same page here. Kind of like your Narragansett. This is not what I would drink on a normal basis, but if I'm going to drink something on a budget, Dow is a good go-to.
Outside, maybe. It's a subsidiary of Dow Chemicals, I imagine, right?
No. But I actually went to college with the granddaughter of the founder of Dow Chemicals. And
wow,
she was fun. Liz.
She had her own dorm.
Liz Frederick. She didn't, but she drove a Land Rover as an 18-year-old freshman, so she had the nicest car in all of school. And then she flipped it one time coming home from the bars.
Where you're 18 and you have like a $30,000 car, 50, whatever. Yeah, you got to flip that thing.
Exactly.
All right.
So,
well,
cheers, buddy.
Cheers, buddy. Wait, we got opening day coming up. Let's not be as maybe downtrodden as we were when we filmed 5 days ago when we got the Jake news.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been nothing but good. If it wasn't for bad news, we'd have no news over the last couple of days.
Yeah, we got some more to talk about.
Yes, we do. But let's kick it off with a couple of, we're going to spend a lot of time on opening day and the majority of the show, but let's kick it off with a couple of things that happened and catch up on some Jets, some Giants, and some Brooklyn Nets. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I love it. We always ignore the Nets, I feel like. So
yeah, we'll give the Nets the opener. So Nets are guaranteed to play in the play-in round that's happening. Just depends on seeding. They're fighting between Cleveland, Charlotte, and Atlanta between 7 and 10, and they're all within a couple of games of each other. But Brooklyn's got a nice little. They're currently slotted in the 8th seed, and they would play Cleveland in the first play-in game in Cleveland. They have 3 games left, and Cleveland has 2 games left, and one of those games is against each other. So, good way for Brooklyn to pick up some ground and possibly slide into that 7th seed and be the home team for the play-in game. And obviously, if you win the play-in game, then between 7 and 8, you're the 7th seed and you're in the playoffs, right? So that's the ideal situation. I mean, this season has not gone well in terms of injuries and vaccination statuses and selfish, fat strip club mongers that are no longer on the team, and now new
mental health issues,
head cases
herniated
with
discs.
back. What's that?
I said herniated discs. Yeah.
Yeah. So
back stuff.
Durant came out the other day and said he blames his ACL strain on the reason that they didn't perform so well this season. And the guy is everyone gives him shit about not being a great leader. He talks a lot of shit on Twitter, but I think he can. But he's definitely one of the top 3 players in the league today, and was having an MVP season before he hurt his knee. So I don't disagree. I mean, and during the time that he hurt his knee, we went from 1st to 8th. I think we won 2 of the first 12 games that he was out, and then finally started to play a little bit better. But all that being said, I do think now that we got Kyrie and Durant, Curry should be ready to play for the play-in game. I think with Drummond and the rest of the way the team's finally playing, and they have an identity now. Obviously, it's a little more, Durant and Kyrie running the show, and everyone else just doing their part, which is how it should have been all year.
But just that alone should be a top team in the East,
right?
The East is kind of tough this year.
The East is very
maybe
tough.
That's more parity.
It's more parity. Agreed. I think Philadelphia, Milwaukee are both very good teams. You got Chicago, who started off really well, but they're really hurt. You got Miami, who's always they've got good coaching. They've got a good hard-nosed team. They're going to be tough to play.
They're in the 1 spot for a while, weren't they?
They were in the 1 spot for a while, and I don't know who's in the 1 spot currently, but I think that's a lot of
it's Milwaukee, right?
Foresight. If we're just talking Brooklyn, we got to get past Cleveland. We got to get in to the top 7 or 8 so that we don't have to play 2 win and in games.
Miami's still in the 1 spot, by the way.
Yeah, I think they were flip-flopping.
And Boston's number 2.
Yeah, Boston's been
actually
playing
Boston,
really well.
Philly, and Milwaukee are all tied.
and they're all tough. They're going to be tough outs if we get there, but I'm not
Yep.
putting the cart before the horse. Focused on hopefully, winning out these last 3 games, and I don't know if that's possible. I think we play the Bucks as one of them, which is going to be a difficult game, and Cleveland is one of the other ones. We played Houston last night. We beat them. That's what we needed to do. So
it's Knicks, Cleveland, Indiana.
Okay.
The next 3.
Those are all 3 winnable games. So we win all 3 of those, and we should be the 7th seed going in to play most likely Cleveland at home, and that's a game that I feel confident that we can win. So
at home, I think you got to. Although I'm going to ask you about the Atlanta game on Saturday. I didn't see it. I don't know if you watched it.
I didn't.
Are you worried about that?
It was not on TV out here. I don't have NBA TV because I would say of the 4 sports, basketball is my number 4. I'm not going to buy the NBA tickets, but I will follow along on the ESPN app. I don't know what happened. I think that Atlanta played very well. I don't think we played defense, and I think that's partially what has happened to us throughout the year. Is that we just don't play a great defense. We're not great at defense, and we don't play great defense. And if a team catches some fire, then we got to play catch up. It's hard. I also, I'm not the biggest fan of Steve Nash as our head coach. I don't think he brings much to the table in terms of tactician. I think he's more of a motivational guy. And when you got Durant and Kyrie, I don't think you need to be drawing up plays for them, give them the ball, et cetera, et cetera. But, there's times where we get beat because I don't think he knows what he's doing with this rotation as well as a very veteran coach. And I think we got beat on the boards. That happens to us a lot. Offensive rebounding has just never been our forte. And I think that was part of the issue. So,
are you okay with his rotations, especially the big man? It seems like he's giving Claxton minutes and some big minutes.
Ever since we got rid of Harden, Claxton has been our backup center, and he's back to playing to the level of where we expected him to be playing this year. Harden losing. So if we really want to dive deep, losing Mike D'Antoni and the way he helped to run the offense in the offseason as a coach has been a big problem for this team. And he's probably going to end up coaching the Sixers next year, which good luck and God bless. But that was the big first, thing that held us back this year. We went from the all-time greatest offense to, what you see out there, which is a lot of Kyrie and Durant, which still is a good offense, but it's not what it was last year. We were running and gunning all over the place last year and putting up 140 points.
That's the D'Antoni way.
Exactly. So you had to outscore us. And now, if we get into some of these slug grudge matches, then it doesn't matter. We got to be a little bit more close to perfect. It's not up and down.
Yeah, I don't love that, but and not to get off track, but I used to love watching those Nash, D'Antoni, when Nash was a player, obviously, those Suns teams, man.
Totally.
Those were one of the best teams that never won a title. There's a couple from our lifetime, but they're up there.
Yeah, they were fun to watch. D'Antoni's all his teams, except for when he was with the Knicks, were fun to watch.
Right.
He just didn't, I don't think, have the personnel when he was with New York, and I don't think that lasted too long, if I recall. But
no, it didn't.
But anyway, I feel confident that we can, once we get into the playoffs, the playing games, I think we can get through that whole thing if we finish in 7 or 8. If we don't, I don't know. And I'll tell you, my expectations for Brooklyn this year have gone from through the roof to anything is possible. So if they even lost in the play-in game, I'm not going to lose sleep over it because that's been the way the season's bounced this year. So
we'll have to do some doom and gloom, but I wouldn't be surprised either. And we didn't even mention Toronto. The East is going to be really tough to get out.
That's the one team. But I'll match up with any team except Toronto. And then if we get past
I don't blame you.
The play-in, because we lose Kyrie for half those games.
Oh God, that's right.
Yep. So Toronto would be a nightmare matchup for us in the first round.
I'll say this though. Conversely, if you're one of the top seeds in the East, you don't want to end up having to play Brooklyn.
No one wants to play
first
us.
Round.
No one except maybe Toronto wants to play us in the first round.
So exactly, and they kind of like the Islanders corollary. Like they under Trotz, they haven't had great regular seasons, but complete pain in the ass in the playoffs. It's like,
Yep.
I just don't want to deal with them.
Yep.
So,
well, I mean, we're just finally getting our legs underneath us. We've dealt with so much adversity this year. Adversity this year.
Cheers, buddy.
Yeah,
Drink.
cheers. But that's enough about Brooklyn. We still got a couple more games to go. I think next week we can dive into that a little more because it'll be more laid out. Let's pivot a little bit here to a little bit of football talk. There was a big trade in the NFL in the last 2 days, which doesn't make a lot of sense if you look at it in a vacuum. But if you start to look at other moving pieces and where these things might fall, it really does look like both Brooklyn, I'll drink for that too, both New York teams, my Jets, your Giants, could be involved in a trade down from their top pick. So the Eagles and the Saints made a big trade. The Eagles traded 2 of their 3 first-round picks this year that were all in the middle of the first round.
Mid-rounds.
To New Orleans for their first-round pick this year. So New Orleans picked up an extra first-round pick this year, and they gave up a pick their first and second-round pick next year, and there's a bunch of mid-round picks as well. And
there's some other stuff. On the surface, you're absolutely right. I hate this because obviously I hate the Eagles. And it looks like a great trade for them.
I mean, it is a great trade for them. There's no way around it.
I know exactly where you're going with this. And maybe we all thought that this was maybe a year where no one was going to like jump at a QB high. Like maybe we're taking QBs off this year and we're just going with other positions in the first round. Doesn't look like it now, right?
No, we're 30 days out, and Carolina is at the 6th.
Carolina's sitting at 6. Need a quarterback.
And they have Sam Darnold, who I can tell you is not an NFL caliber.
Not the long-term solution. I guarantee you Rule's maybe not given up on him completely, but I mean, Carolina's interesting, right? Like, is ownership giving Rule like some leeway here? Does he need results ASAP?
I think that their ownership is very impatient. I believe that this is we have McCaffrey, we have 3 good wide receivers. We need to win now. So you need to fill that quarterback hole because I believe their defense is pretty decent as well. And they started off, even with Darnold last year, they started off pretty hot. McCaffrey got hurt and they tailed off to the point where they are picking 6. So shows you, I think they got most of their wins in the first quarter of the season.
They did. I remember getting a lot of shares of Carolina defense in the beginning of the year. They were really good last year.
Yep.
There's no reason why they can't come back like that.
Nope.
So, but that doesn't make total sense though. So do you think they're going to pick a quarterback at 6?
Well, I think that they will. I believe, I mean, I don't know. I think that the thought process is if the first quarterback off the board, if he's coming off the board, is going off the board at 6 to Carolina. And it's
currently right.
And it's probably going to be Pickett, which you can argue some. I mean, so Carolina filed.
He's maybe the most pro-ready guy, right?
He's the most NFL ready. He's the guy that he doesn't have a big arm, but he does everything, above average. He's got a little bit of mobility. He's got a little bit of accuracy, a little bit above average accuracy, and he apparently can read a defense well, and he can process quick enough. He broke Dan Marino's records at Pittsburgh. I mean, he had to be pretty decent, right? And Matt Rule apparently was recruiting him when he was at Temple before he went to Pitt.
Yeah, there is a connection.
So there's a connection there.
And he's got that crazy fake slide shit too.
He's got that what?
I just had to mention that. He's got look it up. He's got this crazy fake slide.
Oh yeah, they're gonna call it the Pickett rule next year, and they're gonna outlaw that immediately because that definitely changed the tide of that game. Genius.
That or he's gonna get killed, because it's the NFL. But
yeah, he's not too big. He's got baby hands. Was the other big issue.
Right. Oh, that was fun. That one day on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. That one day on Twitter. But I think Kenny Pickett of all the quarterbacks is gonna probably have he's got the lowest floor. So I think he can start in the NFL on an offense right now, come in. I think you put him and Darnold against each other. Hopefully he beats out Darnold if you're the Panthers. And the Panthers also fired their offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, who was the next hot thing 2 years ago, midway through the season. And they brought in Your boy, Ben McAdoo. So
that's right.
Ben McAdoo is the OC over in Carolina right now. So I think they got to win.
Honestly,
now.
Doesn't look that bad anymore after everything that's the Giants have been through. So
no, I mean, yeah, that was a lot of Odell and So
and his choices in suits and haircuts too.
Yes, he definitely looked like Mike Dick reincarnated. So, well, even though Dick is not dead, but
you can't be a skinny Ditka though. That's where he fucked up.
Yeah. Well, I think he wasn't skinny. He was just chubby.
He wasn't Ditka.
Yeah, he didn't play tight end in the 60s. Speaking of like random Bears, nostalgia. I know you're on Twitter. Do you follow Dick Butkus?
Wait, like the real one?
Yeah.
No.
Dude. He's got to be like 77 years old, and he just sends out these random tweets talking shit every once in a while. It's a must follow.
I'm going there right now.
And he's got the blue check. I mean, I don't know if it's his daughter doing it or something, but it's definitely.
But you're saying it's like unintentional comedy.
No, he talks shit. Like he talks shit about the players in today's NFL every once in a while. He'll just throw in some random comment, and it's gold. It's Twitter gold. So
dude, he has 200,000 followers too.
Yeah, enjoy that one. You're welcome.
Man. Dick Butkus, that's great.
So anyway,
what stupid 80s sitcom was he on? Like Saved by the Bell or something?
No, it wasn't. Webster.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, no, it wasn't Webster. Okay. That was George, whatever. He also played in the NFL. But I don't know. We'll have to look that up.
Sound off in the comments.
Yeah, exactly. Sound off in the comments. The Dick Butkus 80s sitcom, but. We're getting way off topic here. So
okay. Let's bring it back. So we just talked about what Carolina is maybe projected to do at 6. So, but now that Seattle, New Orleans has these picks. What do you think?
Well, it looks like if New Orleans offered, they have 16, 19, and a 4th round pick, and that all matches up for the 4 and 5. In terms of value,
according to the trade sheet,
according to the trade value sheet. So if you're the Giants, I'll ask you first, Doug. And New Orleans comes with knowing you have the 7th pick, and they have to get above Carolina, right? So you can't do the 7th. You can't do the as the Jets. I can't do the 10th. I have to do the 4th. Right. You have to do the 5th. Are you taking 16, 19, and a 4th round pick for the 5th pick overall?
16, 19, and a 4th. Wait, so we're not getting... Oh, we can't get a 1st next year.
No, because Philadelphia got that 1st next year.
See, I'd be more happy with that.
Yeah.
To get into next draft.
Yep. Right? So your answer is no.
So for 5 for 16, 19, and...
you would have... something. You would essentially have 7, 16, and 19, and an extra 4th round pick for the 5th overall. So it's 3 first round picks.
I will say it's defensible maybe just because the Giants have so many holes. I would like maybe Shane to get his guy though if he has a guy at 5, and it's hard to say also because we don't know who's going 1 through 4 here.
Of course,
man, it's a tough call.
I'll give you my take.
I kind of like just staying put.
What's that?
I kind of like just staying put, but again. If both tackles are gone and like say it's Hutchinson and say Walker and then both tackles, then maybe I think about it.
Yeah, I think for us, same thing. Like if the top 3 guys go, Hutchinson, Walker, and Thibodeau, and we're sitting there at 4, and like our best bet is Sauce Gardner, who I absolutely love and would love to draft, but I just don't think we need him, and we can trade from 4, go back and have 10, 16, and 19, still get a really good tackle, a really good edge, and a really good wide receiver, and walk away with those, because those are the 3 things we need. And right now, we're going to have to sacrifice 1. And again, if the draft starts off the way it starts off with those 3 edges coming off, Sauce Gardner is the guy that I'm looking at, because I don't want to take Jermaine Johnson at 4. I think that's a reach. I don't want to take a wide receiver at 4 because I think that's a reach.
Right.
I think Sauce Gardner.
And you're against the Jets taking an offensive lineman then?
I think at 4 we have 2 tackles. I mean, if Ekwonu is there, everything I've heard is that the guy can slot in and play guard, but we don't need a guard. He can slide in and play tackle, and then, I don't advocate for taking a guy at 4 that's not going to play, start immediately, right? And if Becton and Fant and maybe he beats one of them out, but like we don't know that for sure. And then he's definitely not playing guard because ABT, and we just spent $12 million on Tomlinson, and he's not going to play center. So I honestly don't want one of the tackles in the top 4. I mean, if you're trying to hedge your bets against Becton being a bust, or you hedge your bets against Fant leaving at the end of this year, then yes, but I still don't think I want to take that at 4. I think you do that.
Yeah.
You take a guy that you can develop in the second or third round and let him be your swing tackle this year.
I can't hate on that reasoning. So
I actually think it makes more sense for you guys to do it because you don't have 1, 2, 3 specific needs. You guys have so many specific needs, and you're also picking 3 picks before we are. So even at 5, if you're looking for one of the offensive linemen, another one should get to 7 that's still up in the top range there. And then you still have 2 more picks later on and an extra 4th. I think, my point of view is because, it could be that Gardner falls to you guys at 7. And if you took Gardner at 7 and you could grab one of these tackles that maybe Penning or Cross at
Cross
16.
falls to like 16. There's a couple. Well, not that we really need receivers, but you're right. A lot of talent would fall in that scenario, especially if 2 quarterbacks are off the board already.
Yep.
Idea that maybe Johnson's still around. Maybe they do like Chris, like Olave or Garrett Wilson.
Yep.
And by the way, everybody thinks you guys are taking Drake London with one.
I mean, dude, nobody knows. This is what I've learned is I've read more mock drafts in the last month, and it used to be that people prognosticated mock drafts because they were actually doing their homework and thinking that they were going to get it right. And now it's like it's the most outlandish picks to say that like you could fuck the whole first round up, but you got the most outlandish pick of the first round and you called that pick. So that's the thing everyone remembers.
It'll get attention, right? Because you got to differentiate yourself from the noise now.
I mean, people are mocking Kyle Hamilton to us with the 4th pick. Never going to happen. Look at Joe Douglas, and you obviously have never paid attention to what he holds close to himself. And taking a receiver at 4 in this draft when if we just stayed put, right, 4 and 10,
just trade at that point.
It's not going to happen, right? If all 3 edges are off the board, I really think we're going to trade down. And I think we would happily take that offer. And then at 10, just hope for Johnson to fall to 10. And then, 16 go best receiver, and then 19 hopefully Linderbaum, the center's there. And then we've really knocked it out of the park. That's a home run first round for us. So anyway.
And by the way, like maybe Stingley's around for the Giants if they make the trade too at cornerbacks. So again, it's not crazy. I don't know. I'd love to get another first for next year, kind of like we did with obviously with the Bears last year. To get
and maybe that's what you do with the 7th pick, right? You just
maybe trade
down again. I think it's going to be all about gathering pit for the teams that don't want a quarterback in the top 10, aka both of us twice. Yep. It's going to be about trading back to teams that do actually fall in love with the quarterback, because I do think that we talk about it's not going to be, maybe a quarterback's not going to go 1, but we're definitely going to have a couple of quarterbacks in the top 10. It's going to put
now watch Shane go out and take Willis at 5. So
I can't see it. I just can't see it.
I can't see it either. But like you're kind of right. Like it's fun to talk about all this stuff, and then we're all going to be completely wrong.
Right.
When the day rolls around.
But that's what we do, right? Well, that's what we're here for. We got to talk about it.
That's what we're here for.
I'm just not going to make the outlandish pick and say we're going to take, Malik Willis at 4 and then pit him against Zach Wilson because Wilson had a shitty year. Blah blah blah.
Just to get some clicks.
Correct. Exactly. No,
which we need.
We do need clicks, but we will not throw the clickbait.
We're going to keep it real.
So Douglas, I think that was a good way to start, but the real. Oh,
not bad. One thing that someone really a lot smarter than me pointed out this week is that don't be surprised if these guys, the former Bill leadership, take a running back in like the third round. That was their MO in Buffalo. I kind of forgot that Moss and Singletary were both third round picks.
Oh yeah, you guys will definitely take a back this year. Who
yeah.
do you have besides Saquon? What's your
not
running
much.
back depth
We
chart?
signed Matt Breida.
I mean, I don't think
like
that's a terrible.
Gary Brightwell.
signing.
Does that do it for you?
I actually was hoping the Jets would have signed him this year. He's got breakaway speed.
Oh yeah, Breida. I mean, just another guy that gets hurt all the time, right?
Right.
Absolute great speed. Kind of reminds me of Mostert a bit, and made of glass. And other than that, though, yeah, it's like Gary Brightwell and some free agents, unless I'm forgetting someone.
Right. So you're definitely going to draft a running back this year, just not in the first round. You'll get one in the third round, and that's actually,
oh God! Please don't do this to us again, Giants. Don't with the first round running backs, especially in the top 10. Obviously that's not happening this year.
I was listening to a podcast earlier today, and they were talking about the devaluation of running backs in the NFL draft as a whole, but they were really hitting in on how like worthless of a pick it is to take a running back in the first round. The only one that in recent time that's been worth it has been Zeke. Saquon before he got hurt was the only other one, but besides those two guys, like Edwards-Helaire hasn't done anything. I don't know. Go ahead.
Did you see the receivers who were picked after Edwards-Helaire? By the way, it's like Higgins, Pittman, and someone I'm forgetting, but
Denzel Mims.
Oh my God! Yeah, like the Chiefs would have been unstoppable with one of those guys.
Yep. But that was a luxury
Denzel
pick,
Mims
right? They were
true.
coming off the Super Bowl, and
they were, but still.
And so they figured, hey, we'll fill in this this running back. But just first round pick running backs are not really good, and quarterbacks after the first round also, it's like a 98% failure rate, which is pretty amazing. Like
everybody's looking for that Tom Brady, but
I mean, in the NFL right now, the guys that are starters that aren't first round picks is few and far between. I know Russ is one and Brady's one. Cousins is one.
Cousins, I was going to say.
Yeah. And Jalen Hurts is a second, but he's not great. I don't think he's got a hold on that job for much longer. And Dak, but I don't think there's very many. I guess Drew Lock
okay.
Gino.
So we're starting to rack off a bunch, but
but
in general, not a great idea. No.
So let's get to the main course. Let's talk about what
baseball.
We started talking about last week. We are less than 24 hours away from the first pitch. Hopefully, yes.
Weather permitting.
Weather permitting. I wish we could play in the background, and maybe we can get the guys to find the "Let's Go Mets Go" song and
oh my God,
that would be awesome.
I know. I'll mail Matt this.
Yes,
he can rip it.
So we're done. We're finally done with the spring training. It was a truncated spring training because of the lockout. It looks like we're not, and I have to make two error omissions. I said last week, which was on April Fool's Day, that I heard Conforto sign with the Cubs. That was obviously an April Fool's joke that I fucking bought hook, line, and sinker. Shame on me. And I also referred.
Oh, really? I'm surprised I didn't yell at you about that because
you were halfway through your 13.5.
Yeah, my 13 point.
Yeah.
Okay. That explains a lot.
Yeah. And I also referred to Rojas, last year's manager, as Lopez, and that's his father. So shame on me for that as well. I
do remember that one, and I remember raising an eyebrow, but I'll let you go.
Yep. I was halfway through my alcohol with the Jake news. So shame on me twice, but if we don't admit our mistakes, then we don't grow. So
let's get in a retroactive drink on that. Drink.
2 drinks. Cheers. Cheers. So, we found out even more bad news since Jake hurt his scapula and is probably out to the All-Star break. Scherzer pulled his hamstring. Not terrible. He says he should have been starting tomorrow. He says he's going to start on Friday on the Apple TV Plus free.
The big game that everybody can't wait for.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it's going to be fine, guys. Just download the goddamn app.
Yeah, even Uncle Stevie's like, it's not on SNY. Just watch it on Apple TV.
Yeah, come on. There's so many worse things. There's so many things to get mad about in this world. That's not one of them.
Nope.
But so yeah, no, Max was out there. I don't know if you saw pictures of him throwing on the field at Nationals Park today, yucking it up. So let's hope he's good. I'm concerned about something else,
which is,
and it does have to do with the rotation. Taijuan Walker went out there the other day and was throwing like mid-80s, surfing up batting practice again. Man, so I'm not going to go again. I'm not going to be a total downer about this rotation all of a sudden, but because I am coming around to the idea that our opening day starter, Tylor Megill, might actually be ready for this role, or at least obviously not a number one, but at least a solid number 4 maybe, which the team needs him to be now. But Jesus, I mean, I'm 100% agnostic. I need to see Walker and Carrasco actually deliver. We did not see Carrasco deliver last year at all. I think he's getting ready. We'll see if he's ready for like actual action. He's pitched okay in the spring, but this Walker stuff, it's fine if you get lit up, but I'm a little concerned about that velocity, and maybe he was holding back. But
well, he said so. He came out after the game yesterday, and he got shelled in an inning and 2/3. He gave up 6 runs and however many hits. Yep. And he said he came out because his knee was acting up, and that's so he had a knee.
Here we go.
He had something with his knee over the offseason, like a scope of some sort, and it isn't quite healed 100%. He's trying to pitch through it, which I think is a mistake. I think we should shut him down, give him another 15 days, let him ramp up. It's still early in the season. I know, we're really stressing our depth currently, but like you said, we got Carrasco, we got Bassett, we got Scherzer, and we got Megill, and we got Peterson. And actually, Peterson is a guy that came out pitching pretty well this spring. So, if Walker needs a 15-day DL stint, or what is it, 10 days now? I don't even know anymore. I can't remember. And it's the IL.
It's 10.
10-day IL stint, right? And then just to like strengthen that knee a little bit. Because if he's throwing mid-80s, I mean, the guy, he's got to be throwing in the mid-90s like he was last year to be effective.
Right.
So he's a big guy.
And the decline started after the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Kind of later in the year with Megill and Peterson. Although, actually, I'm sorry, Peterson just had a bad year last year. He was good in 2020.
Yeah. So I was reading that. I think it was, Enos, whatever, the guy that writes for The Athletic. He was on his list of like really came out and had a great spring because his spin rate is through the roof compared to last year. So I'm actually.
Who's this, Peterson?
Yeah. So I'm actually kind of excited for Peterson. Yep. And Megill, I think, is a good back of the rotation guy. I think he'll probably be our 5th starter once Carrasco and Walker come off the books, and maybe even sooner if these guys can't get their shit together, right? Because they're both older and they both are injury prone. So
I mean, that's reasonable for number 5. I've seen takes out there that he's actually going to be better than that. Some people, maybe it's shiny new guy syndrome, but overall, okay. So after the Jake news, they knocked down the over/under to 88.5 wins.
Yep.
What are you taking?
Keith Law.
You over under on that.
Keith Law actually sent his predictions out for the season, and he also has the Mets at 88 wins, which is also what you predicted last week. I think I will stick with 88 wins as well. I will join you on the 88 win bandwagon. I said
you were 90 something. You were 90 or 91 last week.
Yep. I'm going to stick at 88 with you. See how long it takes to recover. We've got a lot of season to go. It's not a full 162 games. I think, what are we doing, 154 this year? Is that correct?
I thought we're going to do some double headers and do 162, but
is that true?
You could be right. They might have nuked the first week.
I will Google that real quick.
Yeah.
I'll Google that.
All right. So anyway, with the Mets, that's my biggest concern. I don't think that's like even a spicy take. I think everything that's happened in the last week, we got to wonder what's up with the starting rotation. Castro for Rodriguez, I'm a little just lukewarm on. I don't know. I hope the guy's good. I thought Castro was a good middle of the bullpen piece, but
you are correct.
Probably not.
It's probably not worth 62 games.
Oh, we're doing 162. There we go.
Drink for that again. Damn, I am not doing good today. Yeah, Castro for Rodriguez. You didn't like it?
No, I'm not impressed. I don't think I'm like, oh yes, good job. I'm like, no, we kind of just robbed Peter to pay Paul there. And
I think
if we had signed Aaron Loop, maybe it's not an issue. But
yeah, I agree with you. But I think at the end of the day, the salaries matched up, and if you
it makes sense.
If you look at the bullpen, we pretty much replaced Castro's spot with Ottavino.
Yeah,
and so you got
that's fair.
You got Diaz in a perfect world. You got Diaz in the 9th, Lugo in the 8th, May in the 7th, and then you got Ottavino in the 6th if you need him. And then where's Castro going to be, right? So I think it was a redundancy and I also think that Castro had some good games, but Castro had some really, really bad games. And if his margins were razor thin, he lives on he throws from such a weird arm angle, and I think that the deceptiveness is part of what makes him harder to hit. But he's also wild. He walked a lot of people last year, and that's how he got himself into trouble. As much as
he's got that nasty stuff, but
he's got nasty stuff, but he doesn't, he doesn't pump it right down the middle. He goes for the corners, and he reminded me a lot of Hansel. He's so hot. That Hansel is so hot.
Mr.
Yeah, pointing up in the air, exactly. So
is he still on the Angels?
I don't know. I think he may have gotten designated for an assignment, but that shows you how bad the Angels bullpen.
I thought he was like closing for them for a bit. But,
he might have been, but they were not good.
But that's the Angels.
Right, exactly.
And now we're Angels East, obviously, with Billy Epler, but hopefully with better results. So how were you with the Paddock Hosmer for Dom deal?
I
didn't really love that either.
At first, it sounded fine. It sounded like we were going to get another reliever and a guy for the rotation that has some upside and young and control. And we were going to flip Hosmer, I don't know, to the Cubs. And it was going to cost – we probably would have had to eat his salary and get something back. But
there was that whole thing where he couldn't get traded twice, though, that had me worried. That whole second part of the trade seemed like a nightmare. But,
right. And I think that's what made us walk away. I think Epler finally realized, like, and I think also Paddock ended up having an oblique injury and is on the IL.
Oh, is that right?
So I think that probably also played a part in it. I do think at some point Davis or Smith is going to get traded this year, unfortunately, and I do think it's going to be for a starting pitcher, fortunately. So I don't think it's the end of the world because we're set at first base for the foreseeable future. No one's displacing Pete, and
nope.
I wish we didn't have Brody Van Wagenen's love child as our DH, making $18 million this year and next year.
Yeah, and Dom can't get at bats if Cano's in there. So
right, and to I guess Cano's they're going to play Cano, right? I guess they're going to play Cano.
Yeah. He's going to get at bats,
and he was hitting. So I'm not overly upset about it, but
it would not surprise me at all if this dude rakes again.
I think he will. He's a professional
when he's
hitter.
been on the. Other than like the
defense.
first, right? Like other than the first few months of his tenure as a Met, he's actually, if you go back and look, he's raked. When he's been obviously on the team, his salary's dumb, and there would be a little more roster flexibility, and like the payroll would just be great if he wasn't here. But I guess Stevie won't eat the cost. I guess Stevie believes in him. I guess Buck believes in him.
I think that's more what it is. I don't think Cohen would care so much if I mean he's obviously untradeable. No one wants a 39-year-old making $18 million as a DH, but I think he does offer a little bit of flexibility. He can play a little second in a pinch. He can play a little first in a pinch. Probably could play third in a pinch if you really needed him to. So he can be kind of a something Dom can't do. Dom can play first and a really, really shitty left field, and that's it.
Yep.
And JD can play a really, really shitty third, probably about as good as Cano can, and a really, really shitty left field. So
but he's a hell of a right-handed bat, though. And by the way, a great segue: pinches and shitty left field. Here we go with Nimmo in his neck again.
Can't stay healthy.
So if he's out, that means McNeil or Dahmer is playing left, basically on how this roster is constructed. Unless you want to tell me that like they're going to bring in Jankowski, Plummer, or Lee to play full time. I don't think they're going to do that, at least to start. So there's a good thing, and there's all this depth here. But I mean, if they lose Nimmo for a few months again, too. I mean, this team's kind of in trouble.
Totally.
The lineup's not as good.
I think that's where you might see Michael Conforto re-signing happen really fast.
Right.
If they said he's day to day, Nimmo. I think they shut him down so he could be ready for opening day tomorrow. Is he not? Okay?
Yeah. You're right. Like as of now, I think he's penciled in, right? Let's do the lineup. Top two spots.
Yep, I was totally wrong about the lineup last week as well, so I'll drink for that.
So I don't think Marte is batting ninth. I think that's what you said last week, right?
I did, so I'm going to drink for that too. Jesus Christ, I am way off. You don't have to drink with
honestly,
me.
Honestly, I'm going to drink too for letting that pass because you don't sign Starling Marte and then fucking bat him ninth.
I mean, it's similar to the American League style. You can turn the over. But
I know what you're doing, but like, and honestly, like Nimmo maybe fits in the ninth hole, but he's so good at getting on base. You don't do that either.
No, I watched the game against St. Louis last week. No, the Marlins last week, and I'm pretty sure that was the starting lineup.
Here's my question to you. I heard this on I think Mets blog pod, or maybe in the comments somewhere on Maze Nav. Those are like the two Mets sites I go to. Would you rather bat Marte than Nimmo or Nimmo than Marte?
I think I would rather have
to lead off, obviously,
Marte than Nimmo because of the speed aspect, but I don't think that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, it sounds like they're going to do Nimmo Marte, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to go Nimmo.
I agree with you,
and that's fine. I guess it gives you two leadoff hitters back to back, and maybe you do some double steals like back in the 80s. I don't know.
Right, but it's a little weird. They're not going to have the bases cleared for the guy who led the
ML
in that game, stolen bases last year.
In that game against the Marlins, Marte went like 4 for 4, and he hit a double, and then he stole third off of Stallings, who I believe was the Gold Glove catcher for the Pirates that now plays for the Marlins. And he stole third on him I can't remember the last time we had someone like outright steal third just because they're fast.
It's Jose Reyes was the last guy who could steal a goddamn base for this team, and it's I didn't see that game, but it would be so good to see because I like my Mets like always like jump to the worst case. I kind of think of when. Not the first time they brought Roger Cedeno in because he was great, but the second time they brought him in, he immediately forgot how to steal bases. Same with like Alomar and just anyone who has been brought in for speed for this team. So
yeah.
Oh my God. I know this. I know Marte's got kind of an oblique thing, which is why he's not playing center, which isn't a great sign either. But
I thought he wasn't playing center because he had the strongest arm on the team, and I think that's why Buck put him in right.
That's an indictment of maybe I get you're right. I mean, you want his arm in there over Nimmo's in the corner.
I was paying attention to the game on Sunday.
I thought they didn't want him running around that much, so
they put it. They and maybe this is bullshit, but I don't think so. They came out and said, I was watching the SNY broadcast. They came out and said Marte is going to be Buck came out and said Marte is going to be the right fielder through the whole year. We're putting him in right. He has the strongest arm, and there's a lot of ground to cover in that cavernous right field at Citi Field, and we want him out there because Nimmo can play center. He can be serviceable out there, and they're going to keep Kana in left, and he can be serviceable out there. So we have a serviceable outfield. It's not.
I noticed they had Kana in center, obviously kind of filling in for guys, but
to the point,
to see that
they put Kana in center when Nimmo went out because they didn't want to take Marte out of right because they want Marte to learn right because he's actually never played right field in the majors.
Oh, perfect.
Right.
Let's go Mets, baby. Love the Mets.
And it's supposed to rain on opening day. Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. So, but let's do the lineup. So it'll be Nimmo and Marte.
Or Marte Nimmo, but you're right. Which is kind of crazy because you'd think that a team would want like Lindor or Pete in the 2-hole, but they're going to be 3 and 4, right?
Yep, Lindor and Pete will be 3 and 4, and then I think you're going to.
How are you feeling about Lindor this year?
I think we talked about it last week, but I feel great about him. It takes a year to settle into New York, no matter like who you are. It takes a year. It's just especially this team and the way that he came in last year with all the drama in the clubhouse, with all the bullshit. He finally, I think, has a year to settle in, to become a leader in that clubhouse that people respect. He's not just trying to like prove that he's the leader, the new guy, whatever. I don't know if that was a problem or not, but he's now coming in. He's settled in. He knows what the nightlife is. He knows what, all the hot spots. He's not going and trying all these new things, which, come on, that's part of New York. And he's gonna go out there and break this year. I think he's gonna, 260, 270. He's gonna put up his 20 plus homers and his 80 plus RBIs and his 15 to 20 stolen bases. He's gonna play a really solid shortstop for us.
So he just barely got to 20 home runs last year. His OPS was only 734. That put him at league average. Back in Cleveland, he was putting up 30 home run seasons, 800 something OPS, way above OPS plus average. Do you see him getting back to that Cleveland level?
I don't know if he'll get back to that Cleveland level. I don't know if he'll be a 30 homer guy, but I think he'll be a 2 to 3 WAR guy as your shortstop, and he's gonna get his OPS up over 800. He's not going to strike out as much. He had to learn. He also came to a new league. Like, I know that interleague is a thing, but you're facing a pitcher once a year, maybe, when you're playing the National League, when you're in the American League. Now you're playing the National League all year round, and in these heavy division focused schedules. He didn't know the pitching, and it takes time to learn that stuff. So he's got to adjust to the pitching, just like the pitching is going to adjust to him. And I think he's going to be just fine. You deal with a lot when you come to New York as the man, as a 27-year-old, and you sign a humongous contract. And there's a lot of pressure that goes with that. And I think he handled most of it well. I just think his product on the field took a little while to get going, but I think, he's going to be a solid shortstop, defensively above average. He's one of the
best defensive players in the league. Let's not mess around here.
He's going to be a good, solid shortstop from the offensive side of the ball as well. He's going to slot into that third hole, and he's going to hold it down all years. Knock on wood, no injuries, and that's going to be that. Our lineup, actually, for the first time in a while, I think is going to be pretty same day in and day out. I don't think we're going to have a lot of jumping in and out, up and down.
Yeah, let's hope. Real quick, I agree with you on Lindor. He's going to have a better year. We need him to have a better year, though. I need 25 home runs. I need that OPS to be over 800. And as you mentioned, the health. So yeah, let's hope him and McNeil get along. Stuff like that. But you're right about the lineup. We don't even talk about Pete Alonso, but he's a monster. Yep. I think he's going to have a huge year.
Yep.
Maybe Escobar's in the 5-hole. Then
Escobar's in the 5-hole, and that guy is a switch hitter. Right. And he's got some pop. And everything I've heard about
very quietly hits 25 to 30. If we can get 25 from him, man, let's go.
And he's also got a good glove, and he is a great clubhouse guy. Apparently, he took the entire Mets staffers in St. Lucie out to dinner last night, like 70 people, because he just wanted to show his thanks.
Nice.
He's been talking to the minor leaguers, so this guy's a great clubhouse guy.
Yeah,
he's going to give.
I heard about that.
He's gonna give Pete some protection in that lineup in the 5-hole.
And then I totally agree. He's got those Stevie Bucks now, so good for him for taking everybody out.
Yep.
You got maybe McNeil at 6. I expect a bounce back year from him. I think you agree.
I do. I think.
Out of the 3 of McNeil, yeah. Well, out of the 3 of McNeil, JD, and Dom, I think I'm more confident in McNeil bouncing back.
Agreed.
And then in the 7th hole, you got whoever's DHing or just filling in at the time. That's Cano, JD, or Dom.
Yep.
Then you got, we're already at the 8 hole, and we're talking about Mark Canha, who can knock 20 as well.
Yep.
And then whoever's playing catcher.
Yep.
It's a stacked lineup.
It's a stacked lineup.
We've done this before with the Mets. Remember 2002? That was a stacked lineup going into the season.
But this lineup, I just don't see a hole. You want to talk about the catcher in the 9 hole? Fine. Nito and McCann, but those guys are out there for their defense, and they're both good defense.
And man, dude, we're just counting the days till Alvarez.
Yep. We've probably got another 2 years till once these contracts are expired.
I definitely think he debuts next year.
Do you?
Not this year.
Okay. Yeah, where's he starting off? Is he in Double-A this year? You think he's gonna?
I think he's in Binghamton.
You think he's gonna go half season, and then be ready for next
year? They have.
year?
I think he gets to AAA at bats, just like Beatty and Mauricio. They're all three of those guys are starting in Binghamton. So,
nice.
I mean, Binghamton's gonna be a nice ticket if anyone's in the area.
Yeah, loves the Mets. Go see Cuse and then swing by Binghamton.
Yeah, head up old 17.
Yeah,
Highway 17.
Well, I will say I like everything that they've done. I think we've addressed the lefty situational lefty between bringing Shreve on the roster and trading for Rodriguez.
Shreve's a bit underrated, so that was good. That was a good move.
I think having two lefty specialists is good, and I think with Hefner, I mean, he did. Luke was good before he got to us, but Hefner took him to the next level. Got him a $10 million a year contract, right? So. Or helped him. I mean, obviously.
It's only 2 years, man. I think that was while they were trying to find the GM, and he signed signed
him and
early.
Noah both signed before. No,
before Epler came on.
It might have been right. We got Epler and those guys were gone or something like that.
It just seemed like a great way to reward a guy who had a fucking great year. But,
yeah.
I'll shut up about it. I'll never shut up about the Zach Wheeler thing, but I'll shut up.
No, that was
about
ownership ago. I think if Stevie could have been in place, they weren't going through the transition. Maybe that could happen. But Doug, I will tell you, I like our 88 wins. I think if we get Jake back sooner, I'll go back up to my 91 prognostication.
Right. Same here, but I think we're looking wild card.
And I do think we'll be making a big move for a starting pitcher at some point with one of those DH type bats, the plethora that we have, and one of those prospects not named Alvarez that you just mentioned.
Right.
So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Maybe we can do a little call in and watch together, like a game watch live or whatever. And
yeah. What sucks is I actually have this huge work presentation from 5 to 7 Eastern tomorrow.
Oh.
So I'm actually kind of then I'm going to Texas over the weekend. I might not watch too much Mets this weekend, so you're gonna have to fill me in, bud.
You should actually drink for Wednesday. That because opening day is a holiday, my friend.
I didn't schedule blame the city of Bakersfield.
Fuck you, Bakersfield. I've been there. I can say
pretty much
with all the venom that comes with it. Well, Dougie, I will fill you in. I'll keep you up to date. It's been great.
I'll have it on in the background.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we will. We'll be back here same time next week, same place. Sound good?
We shall. Sounds good.
All right, audience.
Cool beans, by the way. New England Brewing coffee stout.
Nice. Audience, we'll see you next week.
This podcast was produced by Heartcast Media.